Anders, welcome to the show. Before we get to the disgraceful scenes there in the European Parliament, can I get your immediate reaction to the assassination, the political assassination, it seems, of Charlie Kirk?
It's a horrible event, I think, that shocked everyone in the Western Hemisphere to see a political activist shot down in the middle of a democratic debate at a university campus. I think it just goes to show that many Western universities have been radicalized to a point where dissenting opinions are not welcome, and even murder is now apparently on the table.
And Anders, let's go now back to that story in the European Chamber. It just seems incredible. Here's the Parliament that took a 1-minute silence, of course, to George Floyd back in June 2020. They honoured that individual, and yet they simply refused to pass the same respect to Charlie Kirk. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's shocking scenes, but it's daily life in the European Parliament. There is a two-tier justice there, where a request from the left to honor even a criminal like George Floyd is always appreciated. But if it's a person from the right, whether it's Charlie Kirk in this instance, or where we had the shooting, almost fatal shooting of Prime Minister Fico in Slovakia, there is not any appetite to mourn or to mark that kind of political violence when it happened to a right-wing figure.
And you were there, I understand, in Chamber when this happened, and, you know, people, the Conservative side of the Chamber stood in silence during a speech. I believe it was Charlie Weimers, the Swedish MEP. It was his motion to use his speaking time for a minute's silence. And instead, Socialist MEP simply talked through it. Disgraceful scenes.
Not even that. The chairman of the parliament, the president of the parliament, even just continued voting. So basically, while we were standing up, you could see the back of me in the clip that you just showed. They just started voting in the voting session. So basically, there was no mark of respect. They didn't even allow the 1-minute speaking time of Mr. Weimers to be carried out, and for that 30 seconds or so to be a mourning of the death of Charlie Kirk.
And Anders, do you believe that this is just typical, indicative of the political intolerance we're now increasingly seeing on the political left? And dare I say it, the kind of intolerance that led this young man here, Tyler Robinson, to become so radicalised he is now the suspect in a political assassination?
There's no doubt in my mind that the most intolerant part of the political spectrum is the left. We have claims all the time in Parliament that, for instance, all men are rapists, and all violence stem from toxic masculinity or excessive whiteness. It seems like for the left in the European Parliament, at least, there is no bigger crime than being born a white male. And that's a bit crazy when you think about they are so obsessed with talk of racism and other kind of accusation in that degree.